The constant fear-mongering over the existing educational systems and hyped-up revolutionary promises of new educational reforms promised by the ruling political establishment of the day really do nothing to help our learners. The battle between opposing sides of the educational debate has been raging for over a century now. Most parents don't really want to get into a political, ideological, or philosophical debate over education. They just want their kids to learn how to learn, to be prepared for the future, and to become productive members of society. That is why it's so important to remove the negative political discourse and the alarmist rhetoric and stop using these reform arguments to feed the negative narrative of our educational system. When for the most part, our educational systems are working quite well. Yes, they are working. Of course we can do better, and we must do better to improve our educational systems, and do so by aligning it to the advances that we're seeing in science and technology and society. But when we do so by pointing out what is working, and then look at what we can do even better. If we look honestly at the data, we will see that almost anything we do for our learner will improve achievement. There has never been a better time to be a learner. There really are no new fundamental approaches to learning, just new ways of combining well-established ideas. And there is no quick fix to learning, the classroom, or to the educational system. We can't deny that humans are the most amazing learning entities on the face of the planet. The researcher, John Hattie, has spent more than 15 years examining the influences on achievement in school-aged students. In his meta-analysis of over 800 factors contributing to achievement, he found that short of physical and psychological abuse, almost anything we do for the learner in the context of schooling or education will improve achievement. The key is to focus on the things that improve achievement the most. Things like authentic learning and feedback from a trusted mentor. Hattie argues that teachers need to make learning visible and must see learning through the eyes of the student to help the student become their own teachers, or as I like to put it, learn how to learn. We also live in an age of abundance, and there's never been a better time to be a learner. We now can hold the world's information in the palms of our hands. Getting access to the information is no longer a problem. The overabundance of information and deciding what information is valid and what to do with all that information is now our latest challenge. As we move further into the 21st century, one can only imagine how much better it will be to be a learner. Now, if you look at the fundamental ideas within the notion of creating significant learning environments, by giving learners choice, ownership, and voice through authentic learning opportunities, you will see that on their own, these key ideas have been around for decades or even a century and have been well established by the research of major theorists like Dewey, Bruner, Piaget, Papert, Sizer, and many more. We've just happened to put them together in a novel way. CSLE+COVA is simply a learner-centered active learning approach based on well-established and proven constructivist theories. Despite the evidence that active learning is more effective than traditional passive learning format of the traditional information transfer approach, research points to the reality that the lecture continues to be the dominant form of passive instruction. Well, why is that? Because information transfer still works. Well, at least from the measurement perspective. Since you can easily measure the amount of information your students can regurgitate on a test or a teacher-controlled assignment, you can satisfy the political forces that require administrators to generate politically expedient data points. This debate has been going on for a very, very long time. Dewey's 100-year-old ideology of active learning dominates the rhetoric of learning in education today, but the reality of Thorndike's standardized testing still dominates the process of our information transfer-based model of education. We must move past the rhetoric by creating significant learning environments that give learners choice, ownership, and voice through authentic learning opportunities. And that will help our learners learn how to learn. There is no quick fix to enhancing learning. While activities like 20% time, Genius Hour, Edu Boot Camps are effective and admirable, and we all agree that technology is important to our future. Unless these activities and tools become more than just add-ons or quick fixes, they are the equivalent of bolting a jet engine onto a horse cart. These type of active learning activities are a wonderful starting point, but if they really are great for that hour or that 20% time, then why wouldn't we do this all of the time? Unless we move beyond the culture of the quick fix and purposely address all the elements of significant learning environments, we will continue to lament the lack of positive impact of active learning and technology have on our learning environments. Now, we owe it to our learners the effort to do what really is going to contribute the most towards their learning. Remember, if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we're robbing them of tomorrow.